All right, this is Zubair on behalf of Electronics, and in this video we'll be talking about trade and wages. Okay, now in the past few videos we've been talking about different kinds of trade, such as intrapersonal or intra-country trade, intra-industry trade, as well as international trade. Okay, when it comes to intra-country trade, we're talking about trade within a country. All right, so you have intra-country trade. Intra has to do with within. Okay, so this is within the country. And your international trade. And the international trade has to do with trade between different countries. Okay, so you have international trade. International trade. Okay, this is trade between different countries. All right, now when two countries trade, okay, obviously the wages of the employees working in those countries go up. Now that is if, okay, the workers are working in the industries relevant to the trade. Okay, so if you have an import and export, okay, let's say import, one country imports, another exports. Okay, so this is import and export. So when two countries trade, okay, one country imports, another one exports. Now the country that imports products, okay, will have workers working in the import industry, right? So you have workers that work as importers, workers that work as importers. And what I mean by that is if the country involved in export, okay, has or is made up of manufacturers, and the manufacturer decides to export a product to a country that imports the product, you will have distributors, you will have distributors, you will have wholesalers. Okay, you have retailers. Okay, so on and so forth. Now, when a country imports a product, okay, all three of these categories, they profit from the import of the product, okay, because obviously they make money as the product goes into a country. Okay, they're able to receive their commission when they sell the product. When a distributor sells it to a wholesaler, for example, he or she makes his or her part of the sale, okay, makes a commission, so to speak. All right, when the wholesaler sells the product to a retailer, the wholesaler will make commission as well. As a result of which, you have distributors, wholesalers, and retailers for that particular product who profit, okay, from the trade. As a result of which, the employees who work for these distributors, wholesalers, and retailers, okay, their wages go up. So if you have wages over here and over here you have output, okay, as output goes up, the wages go up. All right. Now that is if you're involved in this trade as an importer. Okay. However, if you are a competitor to this importer, if you are a competing firm that does not import, is involved in intrapersonal trade, or is importing, let's say, the same product from somewhere else, because of competition, what's going to end up happening is, okay, the profit of the distributor, wholesaler, and the retailer importing the same product from somewhere else will go down. All right. As a result of which, the employees working for those distributors, wholesalers, and retailers, okay, their wages will go down because the output will go down. Because output goes down. Apart from that, you also have people who are involved in intrapersonal trades. So if they're trading locally, for example, okay, their wages will go down. Okay, the employees working for employers who trade locally, their wages will go down. All right. So even though import and export or trade in general, international trade does improve the economy. There is economic expansion because of net export, which is part of GDP. As GDP grows, so does the economy. Not everybody profits from this international trade and from net exports. Okay. Um, the country that exports your product, okay, you have manufacturers, for example. If these manufacturers export a product, okay, using up all the raw materials, minerals, resources, natural resources from within that country, okay, and they export a product, they do profit from the export of that product. However, if you're a competing manufacturer who uses the same raw materials, okay, same resources, same minerals to produce the same product, now all of a sudden you're competing for those raw materials, okay, your natural resources, so on and so forth. And because of this demand, the prices of those raw materials, natural resources, so on and so forth goes up as well. As a result of which the cost of production for manufacturers go up. Okay, so the more the competition, the more the people selling the same product, okay, the higher the cost of production, as a result of which the profit goes down. Okay, so again, this is an example of how trade, international trade, whether it's import or export, does not necessarily profit everybody. All right, and the same goes for intrapersonal trade. Okay, if you talk about intrapersonal trade, obviously intrapersonal trade competes with international trade, as a result of which intrapersonal trade does not profit everyone. All right. So this is basically how the profit and loss works, as a result of which it will have an impact on wages for the employees who work in these industries, whether they work for the manufacturers in a factory or a warehouse, or whether they work for the distributor, wholesaler, or the retailer. Okay, in either case, if there is more competition or if the cost of production goes up, okay, the output will go down, okay, and the wages will go down. All right. All right. Now, the same with the importers, okay, those who are working for distributors, wholesalers, and retailers. The more competition, the less the output, as a result of which, the less the demand for their product, okay, as a result of which, okay, the wages will go down for the employees. All right, so this is how trade and wages work all together. On behalf of V Electronics, this is Obey. Have yourself a great day.